Has everyone been filled?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. My name tag fell out off in the bathroom. I'm Jill Waters. I belong to Sam, or we belong to one another. It is so great to have each one of you here today. I know we've had a variety of topics, but I want to emphasize that whatever your situation is with a family member that has fallen away from God, they can be living under your roof. They can have run away. They may not be in addictions. They may be into theft or, in other kinds of trouble. Whatever we present today, just try to let it accommodate what you can apply in your life, okay? We're hoping you can take some tools from today, and for either yourself or a family member or someone you know. So, in preparation, I'm not going to take a lot of time, but in preparation for my little presentation here, I took a lot of knowledge from this book, this little book, Prodigals and Those Who Love Them. Yeah, who's familiar with this book? Yeah. It was written by the late Ruth Graham, the wife of Billy Graham. And why this was so inspirational is we all seem to think, oh, we need to beat ourselves up if our children don't turn out a certain way, or somehow we can guilt ourselves. We didn't do something. Okay, we got the Graham home. Billy Graham and Ruth Graham, loving, secure, safe, godly, and yet had prodigals run away from their home. Another great portion of this book is from Gigi Graham, who was one of the daughters of Billy and Ruth. And she says a lot in here as well. I'm going to, after I'm done here, I'm going to put this book over on the table so if you want to look at it. Gigi, when her husband and her had children, they had a 16-year-old walk out the door. He was their prodigal for years. There again, loving, secure home. A prodigal does not have to come from an abusive situation. They just want to be independent, they're in trouble with the law, whatever. You fill in your own blank. But I wanted to make that kind of clear in that loving homes that children decided to run away from. Okay, not a divorced home, not an abusive home. So if you're here trying to beat yourself up, don't. Try to guilt yourself. What did I do wrong? What did I do? What did I do? Okay, let's let that go. Let's let that go. So Ruth, discusses the prodigal stages in her life. And I realized the common thread of her strength was she prayed not only with persistence, but with patience. Sometimes we nag God. We're so persistent. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? What'd you say? Louise, did you want to share?
I just said, I feel like sometimes I think, answer me now.
Answer me now. Right. And what we have to remember is that, the word says that the fool disbelieves God. They say there is no God. The fool says that. But we are foolish if we say that God is not sovereign. We have to believe in His sovereignty and His control and His agenda. Let's not put God in a box as far as when we pray. And I'm not just talking about prodigals. That can serve us well in our lives. So let's let God be God. Let's tell him the desires of our heart, but let's let it go. Ruth Graham says, I stood in the doorway watching my son walk slowly down the driveway and out into the street. Then, with a heart that I felt heavy as lead, I reluctantly turned away. She talks about trying to go on automatic. She had to make dinner. You know, she had to try to sleep. How? Where was my son? Where was my son? And she realized that she was not prepared to have a prodigal. And she never imagined that one night she'd be lying in bed wondering where he was. At times the Lord, she said, had to gently remind me to deal with my son as he deals with his children, to keep the doors of communication always open, to accept the person even when I could not accept his actions and conduct. And she talks about how terribly difficult it was, and how her emotions, up, down, jerked, high, low, soaring, crashing. From time to time, the situation would seem to improve, and the tensions would lessen, and even the son's attitude would maybe be a little different. And then she got encouraged, and she got her hopes built up. Hopes that he would keep his job, go back to school, be sorry, change his ways, even come home again. But then, she said, as the years came and went, they often found themselves, she and her husband, very discouraged, and then they just rode the waves of hope, only to have them crash on the rocks. This next statement I'm going to say from Gigi, I think is the most important that I gleaned. And she says, I was tempted again and again to do God's job. Do God's job for him. And would try my best to do something, anything, to help God out. I would interfere, manipulate, scheme, and even attempt to control the situation. And I say to us as a group, as individuals, how many times do we do that with God anyway? With anything in our lives, any situation, that we need to let God be God. She goes on to say that she finally understood that if God was going to work, Gigi, had to get out of his way. How many times do we get in God's way? I could continue to do the possible, but I had to let God handle the impossible. The greatest lesson I had to learn was to release my white knuckle grip and allow God to be in control of all the circumstances. And if we get this today, that will serve us well till we get to the other side. Because you know what? It's never going to be okay until then. It isn't. So today we offer tools so we can put into place till we get to the other side where everything will be great. But not until then. She says this. Gigi is still writing here. My husband, Stephen, says that patience is faith seeing the finished product. I like that definition. Patience is faith seeing the finished product. Andrew Wyeth, the American artist, once said, the most irritating experience for an artist is to have his work criticized before it is finished. Amen. If you have a prodigal, a son, daughter, husband, or father, mother, or wife who is wandering spiritually, be persistent in prayer, but be patient. And be encouraged in that. Remember, God is not finished. We don't see the whole picture. We don't see it from down here. We don't see the whole picture. One day, the curtain will be lifted and questions answered and faith rewarded. God will never disappoint. So take courage. Never lose hope. And keep looking up.